Red Sox announcing late in the evening last night that they had acquired a lefty, Steven Matz. You just heard Courtney talk about that during trending, and we'll keep you up to date when and if they do anything. And we will have a chance tomorrow morning at 9 to talk to Craig Breslow about what they do. Texter earlier said you left perhaps the greatest trade in Boston history off your list this morning. And that was Ken for Jackson at the Winnipesaukee Roadshow.
That was I thought you were going Bill Russell. A lot of people get angry. I mean, I don't know the details of Bill Russell. I wasn't really around for
some
that.
People felt like you slighted D'Lo.
Yeah, Baratek and D'Lo. That's true. For Heathcliff Slocum, a great trade. But that deal is not as celebrated if the Red Sox don't win the World Series in 2004 and absent the Nomar trade, which in hindsight, it's looked at very differently. That came through. I remember where I was. I was in my bedroom. It came in a half hour after the deadline. Pete Shepard on The Big Show broke in with it, and it was shocking, legitimately shocking. Theo Epstein said he couldn't sleep. He thought he was going to be killed. I mean, Nomar was everything in this town, and to trade him and to have the balls to do that as a 31-year-old GM and then win the World Series because of it, you can't keep that off.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm just telling you, they are right there, and anything short of a reasonably good potential number 2 arm is going to bother me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be very disappointed.
I think a lot of people will, because that's the one area. Like if they don't add a bat, I don't think people are tripping about it. You know, like bullpen help, people are not really.
I don't really care about an everyday first baseman. Like,
No,
I mean, I don't mind the platoon over there, and I just, you got to get yourself another starter, and it's got to be somebody that is reasonably legit.
If they don't do that, I think there are going to be a lot of people that are very disappointed. And the only way that they can, save a little face is if there is no reasonable starting pitchers that are moved. That's the only way that they can go, we tried, but there was nobody that moved.
But people have already been moving.
No, but reasonable starters.
But I don't think that works, because people will always say, well, then you were too conservative. You had an opportunity. You have to extend yourself. I mean,
but
nobody would have said nobody would have said in the moment that you got equal talent back for Nomar in Orlando Cabrera and Doug Minkiewicz. But it worked out.
Right, but it's the same thing with the Kyle from Waltham trade, but he was just a regular guy that no one expected. I'm talking about, like, if a guy like Eovaldi, a guy like Joe Ryan that we're talking about, if those guys don't move, and you tried.
But there's already been a rumor that the Padres offered you Dylan Cease and a prospect for Jarren Duran.
Okay, so
Cease would be a pretty big pitcher to move,
yes.
right?
Okay, so then you have to move on that. If the Padres did offer you that, and that is reported as true, or the insiders are saying that, then you have to say, all right, we need to move on from Durant to get a legitimate stop.
Well, the Padres appear to be thirsting after Jarren Duran.
All right,
now I will say I listened to 2 people on baseball. One is Curtis, as you know, and the other is my guy, Lou Merloni.
Mm-hmm.
And Lou was social media-ing yesterday, I think it was, on being okay with getting your number 2, like essentially waiting off-season wise.
Hey, it's Lou.
Off-season wise, value with Duran, and getting your number 2 in advance of next season. And then being ready to roll with Crochet and whoever you get for your number 2. Lou seems to be okay with that.
But Lou also said that there's not going to be those impact starters that are going to be moving this year during the trade deadline. So that's the only, like I said, that's the only thing that you can look at and you go, well, you tried, but if the Rangers are not willing to trade Eovaldi, or Minnesota's not willing to trade Joe Ryan, then, you just don't want to add guys, because then we go, oh, it's just, who's this dude you added?
Yeah.
I mean, why not just improve the team and get out of your comfort zone? Everybody said in that front office that the vibes were different. This was a year. The years of waiting were over. We're going for it. Here you are. You won 10 straight getting into the break. You struggled a bit, but now you've won 6 of 10 again. You're entering a point of your schedule where you need these games. Why wouldn't you add? The AL is The American League, we all agree, not good this year. We don't know what Judge is going to be with the Yankees. Nobody really believes in the Blue Jays in the division. You know, who's the team that you fear in the American League?
Well, they're going to add, but it's going to be, are you going to add something that people go, that was a good ad, but if there was nobody.
You keep saying if there's
right.
nobody.
But this is what Lou said.
Rafael Devers.
But what Curtis is saying, which is accurate, is you can make anybody available.
No, you can't. If Minnesota doesn't want to give up Joe Ryan, then guess what? There's nothing you could do.
Make an offer they can't refuse.
Exactly.
Yes, you can.
So then what's that mean? If that offer is, okay, we want Roman Anthony, then are you going to do that?
Well, you could talk about the Roman Empire.
No, but you're saying make an offer you can't refuse.
Right. Obviously, it's not going to be Roman Anthony.
Right,
they have far more people in their farm
But they
system.
might be like, we want this.
That sweatshirt Sam gave Wiggy is
It has nothing to do with no. It has nothing to do.
Really is.
No,
You're already defending things they haven't done.
It has nothing to do with the
But
sweatshirt.
Wiggy has a point.
That's all it is. My point.
How much are you willing to give up on this team that's neck and neck with the Yankees right now and could actually have a real shot at this to get a second arm?
Let me put it this way, Cordy. I want them to behave as they did from 2018 to 2003. That's what I want.
Oh my God, Curtis, they're not going to do. At least my point is that when you look at where they are and what Lou is saying, if there's teams that are not willing to give up these type of players and they're trying, his hatred towards ownership is like, all right, they need to go out and get Joe Ryan.
But the Padres are willing to give you Dylan Cease. You're just not willing to pay the price.
That is correct.
Right.
If the price is Jarren Duran
right.
plus a prospect or whatever it is, they don't seem to be willing to do that.
And I'm really
haven't heard
sorry,
this
Wiggy. I
report.
want the Red Sox to do what they did.
All over the place yesterday.
Curtis, I believe Curtis sent it in the group yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to read those. But the Red Sox, I'm interested in them doing what they did to win 4 championships.
Stop, Curtis.
The outrage.
It's the Belichick-Brady stuff. I look at the Red Sox and I
go, you don't want them to be championship driven.
I want them to go out there and
try.
I want them to add. But if Lou and all the baseball hardos are telling me that the starting pitchers, the impact arms are not moving, how can I sit here and criticize the team when those other teams are not willing to move on from those guys?
Greg,
you brought up
correct me
one
if I'm
guy,
wrong,
that Dylan. What'd you say is Dylan Sheets?
Dylan Cease.
Yep. Okay.
Dylan Cease.
All right.
Greg, can you refresh my memory for me?
Yes.
When the Red Sox moved on from Devers,
Yes.
I believe Wiggy and you guys said now they just have to reinvest in this roster.
Yeah.
So now we're on the day to reinvest, and Wiggy's like, nobody wants to. It's okay.
I said, yes, reinvest, but if you're telling me there's nobody to reinvest to.
No, that's not what you said.
Yeah. I'm based off.
Wiggy's saying, to go back to the food story, Wiggy is saying you can't go out and spend on caviar if there's none available in the seafood store.
Right. How are you supposed to invest in, and then you don't want them
Captain Martin's
you don't want them just to invest in
Great spot.
Awesome.
regular guys because you're like, well, we need impact plays. But if there are no impact starter pitches out there, then where are they supposed to go? If they sign average guys for depth, then you're like, what are you doing? So if the baseball hardos always tell me that potentially none of these big name starting pitchers are going to be available.
I hate this argument on the Subaru of New England text line. Looks like it's a text from Connecticut. They're complaining because Dylan Cease is a rental. Like, who
you
cares?
could give him a contract extension.
Who cares? You can, the
Red Sox.
You rent the guy and then you extend the guy.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
That's the dumbest argument in the history of arguments. Is I don't want a rental. Who cares?
Yeah, there's guys available. Like Dylan Cease is clearly available to you. Sandy Alcantara is another guy that the Red Sox have been sniffing around down in Miami, according to Sean McAdam. So, like, there are pitchers available. It's just, are you willing to pay the price?
But and I don't know a lot about this guy, but luckily, I got friends that listen to this show, and one of my good friends said, my boy Joey, who's the cop, you met him before from East Boston.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Joey Centulo, he's a cop. Yeah. He said Cease is 3-10 with a 4.8 ERA.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
this season, yes.
Yeah. So, but we just talked about a guy this season who was struggling. And you're like, oh, I don't want him.
Who?
Who was the guy, Curtis, you were talking about that batting average or something?
Oh, the guy they traded, Matz. But he's got a.
Yeah, he's talking about
Matt's
Matz.
ERA.
Yeah, Matz. He was like, yeah, Matt's ERA stinks. So it's like, well,
I mean, Matz isn't a number 2 pitcher, Wiggy.
No.
There's a difference.
He's a lefty specialist.
no, I understand that. But if Cease is struggling,
Ken is also a lefty specialist.
what's to say he's going to get here and he's going to be good?
But like last year, he won 14 games. This isn't a guy who's like.
I get that, but Jaron Duran was in MVP voting last year, and this year he's not playing particularly well. And I'm not saying
Well, he's
Cease.
certainly playing great the last month.
Yeah, he is. But
mean,
I'm not saying
so
Cease is
you're-
not the
you're gonna
guy.
have to- but you have to make a tough decision if you want to go for it.
And
Right.
I understand that Cease may not be the guy that you want, but like it's my example of there are pitchers out there
Okay.
for you to go and acquire if the Red Sox are willing to pay the price.
And I'm willing.
And they
to,
should be.
I'm willing to bet you dollars to donuts, and I love donuts, that the Red Sox will acquire a starting pitcher.
The more I think about it, the less I believe it.
All right.
Why?
I don't think they're going to do anything. I'm expecting disappointment.
Well,
Greg.
you're buying the spin then that there's just nobody who's really good available.
No,
But-
not at all. I think there's plenty of guys available. I just think the Red Sox aren't going to deal what's necessary to get a really good player.
No, but they're going to get one of those guys that you brought up. Cease, you brought up Al.
Are they? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that
All right.
they sign one of those guys.
And if they don't, tomorrow morning at the Tipsy Seagull, you better rip the crap out.
no,
of them.
and if they do, I don't want to hear you go, well,
I'll admit I was wrong.
No,
I
don't
have no
want,
problem with
I
that.
don't want to hear you go, well, they signed this guy, he's not very good.
No,
because his ERA is not good.
if they
this year.
trade for a legitimate guy, I would be happy to admit that I'm wrong. But at this point, I feel like that's not going to happen.
And so, wait,
Curtis, answer a quick New Hampshire text for you.
Okay.
Would you give up Jaron Duran for Dylan Cease?
yes,
You would.
yeah.
Interesting.
But I also know how if you get a guy, if Cease can turn it around, and he is your number 2 starter after Crochet, who's going. The other reason you need pitching depth in the starters is that they're already pushing Crochet back to Monday or Tuesday.
But that might be because they think they have their eyes set on a number 2 coming in.
But if they thought that sounds oddly personal, they thought that if Crochet is a better pitcher than whoever they'll acquire, so why wouldn't they play him Saturday? They're doing that because that they want to. They're going to save him, hopefully, for a playoff run.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you have the potential this fall to own the city. The Yankees are not a great team. You're 5-1 against them this year without improving your roster. You have an opportunity here, and it would be incredibly demoralizing, I think, to a lot of fans of this team that saw the Cohiba, the Bregman deal, that tolerated the Devers trade, which appears to be in their favor. And if they don't reinvest with actual players that can help, and they're not going to accept the party line from Wiggy that there was just no one available, because there are always people available if you have the right offer.
Deadline coming at 6. You can